Presentation 6. Slide 1. Title page of the presentation. Fundamentally new computational methods for calculating cumulative probability distribution functions. Guarantees for the success in implementation of portfolios of scientific research and development, risky financial instruments, risky business projects. Lightning fast growth in the rate of efficiency of prospects for human development. Priority commercial implementation. Gaining global leadership in exploration and mining in 8 years. Gaining global leadership and significant results in terra-saving the Earth and terraforming other bodies of the solar system in 10 years. Slide 2. Presentation contents. Slides 3 through 10 examine the colossal, unprecedented opportunities presented to all of humanity by the advent of the new computational methods, abbreviated as NCMs. Opportunities for guaranteed successful portfolio solutions to high-risk problems in all areas of the natural and social sciences and technologies, all areas of production, business, and social relations. They also examine a project for implementing NCMs in the most commercially attractive and scientifically promising field of activity. 2 more slides of the presentation, 11th and 12th, contain information about the NCMs and the priority commercial NCMs implementation project's key developers. Slide 3. Ability to guarantee the success of risky operations. The new computational methods discussed in the presentation, abbreviated as NCMs, are also known as Brajnikov algorithms or Brajnikov computational methods, and were developed by Artem Brajnikov between 2009 and 2019. For the first time, the NCMs provide the opportunity to reduce with evidence the risk of overall, total for all operations, failure of a formed portfolio of risky operations to zero. That is, to guarantee the success in the implementation of portfolios of scientific research and development, risky financial instruments, risky business projects, and other risky operations. Guarantees and evidence of the success of the formed portfolios of risky operations, financial instruments, business projects, scientific research, etc., are ensured by the following capabilities provided by the NCMs. 1. Calculate the cumulative probability distribution functions of possible values of physical or financial indicators of portfolios consisting of a practically unlimited number of elements, many tens, hundreds, and even thousands of risky operations. Note, a portfolio of 1,000 risky operations has 10 to the 301 power of possible outcomes. 2. Identify a subset of risk-free portfolios of risky operations from the set of all portfolios that can be formed based on the set of all risky operations, financial instruments, projects, etc., potentially available to the company. Note, a risk-free portfolio of risky operations is a portfolio of risky operations with a probability of overall, summary for all operations, failure below the accepted significance level, 1% or lower. That is, with a probability of overall failure so close to zero that the occurrence of overall failure can be deemed practically impossible. 3. Select the optimal risk-free portfolio of risky operations from the identified subset of risk-free portfolios based on a given set of criteria. Before the advent of NCMs, it was impossible to solve the problem of forming a portfolio of risk operations with a probability of overall, total for all operations, failure not higher than a given level of significance, for example, 1% or below, since it required too many calculations. Therefore, in probabilistic risk management, the algorithm for executing the law of large numbers, abbreviated LLN, was widely used. Its application does not require a large number of calculations, but it determines only the conjectural nature of risk management. That is, when applying the LLN algorithm. 1. The achieved probability of the overall failure of the risk operations portfolio is unknown. 2. Achieving acceptable levels of reduction in the probability of overall failure is not guaranteed. 3. As a result of observing the algorithm's recommendations, the probability of overall failure may increase. That is, before the advent of the NCMs, probabilistic risk management was unable to either prove or guarantee the reduction of risks to acceptable levels. The emergence of NCMs solves this problem. The NCMs provide the opportunity to form a portfolio of risky operations, projects, financial instruments, experiments, etc., that guarantees the achievement of overall success according to the selected criterion, financial, physical, production, social, occurrence/non-occurrence of an event, etc. Thus, with the advent of NCMs, humanity gains the ability to guarantee the successful solution of the most high-risk, ambitious, large-scale, and highly promising tasks, attempts to solve which previously ended in failure due to high risks or were generally restrained by high risks of unacceptably high losses, financial, time, material, reputational, symbolic, etc. Humanity receives opportunities for a guaranteed successful solution of high-risk tasks in all areas of natural and social sciences and technologies, all areas of production, business, social relations, etc. Slide 4. A powerful impetus for human development. If a project promises to receive high profits and open up great prospects, then its implementation can only be held back by too high risks, that is, too high a probability of failure, leading to unacceptably high financial and other losses. Thus, the fear of a high probability of unacceptably high losses is the main factor holding back attempts to solve the most daring, large-scale, highly promising, and potentially highly profitable tasks. NCMs eliminate this factor, eliminate the danger of financial and other losses, guarantee success, and the receipt of the required or greater profit when solving problems with a high probability of failure. Accordingly, the elimination of the main obstacle holding back attempts to solve the most large-scale and highly promising problems will cause an unprecedented increase in the rate of human development, the rate of development of the economy, science, and technology. Thanks to NCMs, all investments in a portfolio solution of even the most high-risk tasks are guaranteed to be profitable and successful. That is, the solution to all, even the most high-risk tasks, is forever freed from incurring unproductive, non-recoverable costs. Almost complete elimination of unproductive, non-recoverable costs means unprecedented growth in the efficiency of economic, scientific, and technological development. That is, unprecedented growth in the efficiency of human development. The growth in the rate of development of the economy, science, and technology caused by the emergence of NCMs will lead to a rapid increase in demand for further expansion of development prospects. That is, for solving current and promising problems of fundamental science. The emergence of NCMs removes the main limitation in solving these problems. It allows you to get rid of the risks of financial and other losses when solving them. The emergence of NCMs allows you to guarantee the overall success and profitability of the implementation of portfolios of scientific research. That is, it allows you to create mechanisms for commercial self-financing of science. The rapid growth in demand and the removal of the main limitation will lead to a rapid increase in the frequency of attempts and, accordingly, to a rapid increase in the frequency of obtaining solutions to current and promising problems of fundamental science. That is, to a rapid expansion of temporal and spatial horizons, to a rapid cardinal increase in the prospects for the development of mankind. The rapid expansion of the horizons of human development will give a new powerful impetus to the growth and strengthening of its virtuous, progressive, and creative forces, opening up for them ever new, vast, ready, and calling for exploration, conquest, and development, intellectual and physical spaces. At the same time, the opportunities provided by the NCMs to guarantee the success and profitability of portfolios of risky projects and the opportunities to guarantee the success and profitability of scientific research portfolios will constantly provide the exploration, conquest, and development of these new huge opening spaces with all the necessary resources. Slide 5. The NCMs are giving rise to a new type of investment. The possibility of the confirmed reduction to zero of the probability of financial failure of the formed portfolios of projects and financial instruments, provided by the NCMs, gives rise to a new type of investment. Investments in portfolios with confirmed financial risklessness, consisting of risky business projects and risky financial instruments. Note: for the phrase financially risk-free in the following narrative, we will use the abbreviation FRF. One of the species of this new type of investment is investments in financially risk-free geological exploration and production of oil, gas, and other minerals. Investments in financially risk-free exploration, abbreviated FRF exploration, compare favorably with both traditional types of investment comparable in reliability and terms, and with other investments of the new type created by the emergence of NCMs. Investments in FRF exploration differ from the most reliable traditional investments, comparable in reliability in terms of return, 3 to 5 years. For example, investments in U.S. bonds to maturity without leverage, by dramatically, tens of times, higher returns. Investments in FRF exploration differ from other FRF investments of the new type created by the emergence of NCMs by better conditions for an objective, reliable, Development of geological exploration knowledge and competencies. Development of geological exploration methods and technologies. Thanks to these advantages, at the initial stage of the NCMs spread in the industry, companies pioneering the use of NCMs receive unprecedentedly favorable conditions for large-scale, lightning-fast expansion in all segments of industry vertical integration. Slide 7. The inevitable rapid emergence of unattainable leaders. With the transition of the oil and gas industry to financially risk-free exploration, the magnitude of the obtained risk management scale economic effect, abbreviated RMSE, becomes the main competitiveness factor in the acquisition of projects, subsoil blocks. Possession of the greatest RMSE value allows a company to acquire and implement the largest number of the most attractive and most promising projects. See the red elements of the diagram. Implementation of the largest number of the most attractive and most promising projects generally allows a company to obtain the largest volume and the best quality of discovered reserves. See the blue elements of the diagram. The best quality and the largest volume of discovered reserves provide the company with leadership in the volumes and specific profitability of reserves introduced into development. Leadership in the volumes and specific profitability of reserves introduced into development generally provides the company with the best financial opportunities for further expansion of the scale of exploration. That is, the best financial opportunities for further increasing the advantages in the magnitude of the RMSE value. At the same time, the implementation of the largest number of the most attractive and most promising projects brings the company the largest volumes, the highest relevance and value of the obtained geological exploration information, and the largest volumes, the highest relevance and value of the obtained additional competencies in conducting geological exploration. See green elements of the diagram. Obtaining the largest volumes of the most relevant and valuable geological exploration information and additional competencies in the general case allows obtaining and increasing the company's advantages in the subsoil systemic studies, abbreviated SSS, over other companies, that is, to further increase the company's advantages in the ability to obtain the greatest RMSE value. Thus, the advantages of the greatest RMSE value are cumulative. Having the greatest RMSE value brings the company production, economic, and scientific results, which further increase its advantages in the RMSE value over other companies. Note, as already mentioned, an exploration and appraisal program, abbreviated ENA program, is a portfolio of oil and gas prospecting projects. When implementing the ENA program with the greatest RMSE value, the company takes the largest number of the best projects from the market. Other companies can implement only less attractive and promising projects that did not interest the first company, i.e., in general, they do not get a chance to reduce the gap either in the volume and quality of discovered reserves or in the subsoil systemic studies. Thus, when implementing each subsequent ENA program with an increasingly greater RMSE value, the company increasingly increases its advantages in the volume and quality of discovered reserves and the subsoil systemic studies, and, at the same time, taking an increasing number of the most attractive and promising projects from the market, reduces the chances of success of the attempts of other companies to reduce the gap. When achieving global leadership in subsoil systemic studies and the magnitude of the RMSE value, the company becomes a virtually unattainable leader in the volumes and economic efficiency of oil and gas prospecting and production, since each time it acquires and implements the largest number of the best projects in the world, i.e., each time it further increases its global advantages in subsoil systemic studies and the magnitude of the obtained RMSE value, further strengthening its leadership. In the volumes and quality of discovered reserves, in the scale and economic efficiency of oil and gas prospecting and production. Modeling shows that FRF super companies, virtually unattainable global leaders in the scale and economic efficiency of geological exploration and production of oil, gas, and other minerals, can emerge in a very short time. With focused maximization of the RMSE value, one or several FRF companies are capable of growing into an FRF supercompany, i.e., creating a virtually insurmountable gap in the scale and economic efficiency of geological exploration in just 5 to 8 years. Slide 8. A condition for the FRF supercompany's existence. With the transition to financially risk-free geological exploration, possessing the greatest RMSE, on the one hand, ensures the conquest and maintenance of leadership, and on the other, becomes a prerequisite for simply maintaining the competitiveness of the FRF supercompany in terms of economic efficiency and exploration and production scale. This means possessing the greatest RMSE becomes not only a prerequisite for the FRF supercompany's development, but also a prerequisite for its existence. Having the greatest RMSE implies leadership in the quantity and quality of oil and gas exploration projects prepared for implementation, which means leadership in the subsoil systemic studies, abbreviated SSS, or, in other words, leadership in building a model of the global petroleum bearing system, abbreviated GPBS. With the further development of FRF supercompanies, the solution to the problem of maintaining leadership in building an increasingly detailed GPBS model will require the use of the fullest possible volume of geological exploration information, knowledge, and competencies. That is, the use of geological exploration information, knowledge, and competencies obtained not only in oil and gas prospecting studies, but also in prospecting studies of other types of mineral resources, in solving other types of problems related to the study and development of the subsoil. Thus, the condition for possessing the greatest RMSE value will be leadership in building a model of the global geological system, abbreviated GGS, which includes not only the GPBS model, but also, among other things, models of global geological systems of other types of minerals, models of the formation and spatial location of deposits of other types of minerals. Leadership in building such a GGS model will provide FRF supercompanies with advantages in the efficiency of exploration when prospecting not only oil and gas, but also other types of minerals. The need to maintain and strengthen leadership in the subsoil systemic studies will force, and the possibilities of converting geological exploration advantages into profit from production will stimulate FRF supercompanies to carry out the largest possible expansion in prospecting and production of other types of attractive minerals, and not just oil and gas. The need to build and continuously improve a model of the evolution of the global geological system, abbreviated GGS, means the need to build and continuously improve its constituent models of the formation and further development of the lithosphere, ecosphere, biosphere, and other geospheres of the Earth. Financial risklessness and strong commercial motivation for carrying out these works will ensure a constant and maximally intensive, generously financed improvement of knowledge about the bio and geoprocesses of the evolution of the lithosphere, ecosphere, biosphere, and other geospheres of the Earth. Never before available high intensity and scale of knowledge acquisition will allow FRF supercompanies to quickly obtain results that open up new prospects and unprecedented opportunities for solving fundamental problems of long-term preservation of humanity and the natural environment. Unprecedented opportunities will open up for humanity to build a deep and detailed forecast of the results of further development of the processes of evolution of the Earth's geospheres. Unprecedented opportunities will open up for setting, deep and detailed study, and solution of fundamental problems of long-term and ultra-long-term preservation of favorable conditions for life and development of humanity on Earth. A detailed study of the processes of evolution of the Earth's geospheres will open up unprecedented opportunities for humanity to set, deep, and detailed study and solution of terraforming problems, the targeted creation of favorable conditions for life and development of humanity outside our planet, on other cosmic bodies. Opportunities will open up for humanity to develop projects of targeted panspermia, the targeted introduction of life to other cosmic bodies, for example, Venus, Mars, and other bodies of the solar system, for the purpose of terraforming and/or creating favorable conditions for the development of the necessary resources. To maximize the RMSE, the scale of geological exploration, and advantages in the subsoil systemic studies, companies require maximum breadth of activity area and advantages, or at least equal conditions, in access to subsoil blocks, geological exploration information, technologies, and the necessary competencies. Generally, these requirements can only be fully met if a company enjoys the broadest possible public support for its activities. Thus, the broadest possible public support for the activities of an FRF supercompany is one of the most important conditions for its existence and development. Achieving such public support requires FRF supercompanies to set goals that bring the highest values to the widest range of people, such as solving fundamental problems related to long-term and ultra-long-term prosperity and the development of humanity. For example, such as 1. Long-term and ultra-long-term preservation of favorable conditions for the life and development of humanity on Earth. 2. Terraformation and/or creation of favorable conditions for the development of the necessary resources on Venus, Mars, and other bodies of the solar system, including through targeted panspermia. Thus, The use of NCMs not only provides opportunities, but also creates powerful incentives for setting and solving fundamental problems of long-term and ultra-long-term preservation of humanity, creates unprecedented prerequisites for a rapid, cardinal expansion of the temporal and spatial horizons of its development. The best chance of growing into an FRF supercompany and firmly maintaining its established leadership in the scale and economic efficiency of geological exploration and production of oil, gas, and other minerals will be an FRF company that, from the outset, sets its primary goal as solving the fundamental problems of long-term and ultra-long-term prosperity and development of humanity. We invite you to participate in the creation of such a company. Slide 9. Expected results of the project of FRF supercompany creation from scratch. Let's consider the expected results of the FRF supercompany creation project. One of the model conditions of the conservative version of the project of the FRF supercompany creation under consideration is the creation of the FRF supercompany from scratch, i.e., not on the basis of an existing oil and gas or geological exploration company. Our project for creating an FRF supercompany from scratch covers a 10-year period, which includes creating an FRF company from scratch, its growth into an FRF supercompany, and further development up to the expected IPO in year 10. The following key results are expected to be achieved during the implementation of the developed project of FRF supercompany creation from scratch. It is predicted that the following results will be achieved in the first 5 to 8 years of the project implementation. 1. Unattainable advantages in attractive projects, subsoil blocks, acquisition. 2. Global leadership in the new geological exploration information obtained, volume, quality, relevance, value. 3. Global leadership in the development of geological exploration science, knowledge, competencies, methods, and technologies. 4. Market power over the global distribution of the most attractive subsoil blocks. 5. Global leadership in the volumes of discovered oil and gas reserves. 6. Global leadership in the quality, lowest unit production cost, of discovered oil and gas reserves. 7. Control over the distribution and production of the largest volumes of the world's best oil and gas discovered reserves. 8. Global leadership in the growth rates of economic efficiency and volumes of oil and gas production. 9. Global leadership in the systemic study and construction of detailed models of the evolution of the geospheres of the Earth and other bodies of the solar system. 10. Global leadership in the development and implementation of projects for the ultra-long-term preservation of favorable conditions on Earth, panspermia, and terraforming of other bodies of the solar system. The company will achieve global leadership in the RMSE magnitude by the end of the 5th year from the start of the company's creation process. Firm consolidation of the FRF supercompany status, an unattainable leader in the subsoil systemic studies, abbreviated SSS, and RMSE, a leader in the volumes and profitability, low specific cost, of production of discovered reserves, will be achieved in the 7th to 8th year from the start of the company's creation process. Thus, in the first 5 to 8 years from the moment of its creation, the company will become a global leader in geological exploration scale, in the volumes and quality of discovered oil and gas reserves, in the subsoil systemic studies, in setting and solving the problems of ultra-long-term preservation of favorable conditions on Earth, and terraforming other bodies of the solar system. The achieved leadership will make the company ready for large-scale expansion in geological exploration and production of other types of minerals, and the implementation of the most ambitious projects for the ultra-long-term preservation of favorable conditions on Earth and terraforming other bodies of the solar system. Slide 10. Financials. As already mentioned, the project to create an FRF supercompany from scratch covers 10 years, including the creation of an FRF company from scratch, its growth into an FRF supercompany, and further development until the expected IPO in year 10. Based on the type of investments attracted, the project can be divided into 2 stages. 1. The stage of venture investments in the creation of an FRF company from scratch for $150 million. It takes up the first 1.5 years. 2. The stage of FRF investments in FRF conducting oil and gas exploration for $21 billion. It takes up the remaining 8.5 years before the IPO. The stage of venture investments consists of creating an FRF company and ensuring its ability to form and implement FRF exploration programs, FRF portfolios of oil and gas prospecting projects. The stage of FRF investments consists of the parallel sequential implementation of several FRF exploration programs. The financial indicators of the first 10 years of the FRF Supercompany, according to the conservative modeling version, will be: investments in capital will be $21,148 million US dollars. Rate of return on invested capital R will be 34%. Probability of failure to receive R greater than 15% will be less than 0.000001%. Probability of losing all investments will be less than 10 to the power of minus 105. Net profit from exploration alone over 10 years will be $71 billion US dollars. Net profit from exploration alone in year number 10 will be $53 billion US dollars. The company's valuation during the IPO, based on the price-to-earnings ratio typical for oil and gas companies, will be from price-to-earnings equals 10 to price-to-earnings equals 20. Net profit in year 10, the year of the IPO, will be $53.2 billion US dollars. Thus, the company's valuation based on the price-to-earnings ratio will be from $532 billion to $1,064 billion US dollars. The first round of investment is planned to finance the implementation of Stage 1 of the process of the FRF Supercompany creation and coincides with the start of the process. It is planned to raise $150 million US dollars, valuing the company at $10 billion US dollars. Thus, depending on the price-to-earnings ratio during the IPO, the profitability of the first round of investments will be from X53 to X107, and the yield will be from 56% to 68% per annum. The second round of investment is planned to finance the implementation of Stage 2 of the process of the FRF Supercompany creation in year 2 from the start of the process. The investments of the second stage refer to a new type of investment created by the emergence of NCMs, investments with confirmed financial risklessness. It is planned to raise $21 billion US dollars, valuing the company at $100 billion US dollars. Thus, when conducting an IPO, the profitability of investments in the second round will be from X5 to X11, and the yield will be from 23% to 34% per annum. Thus, investments of the new type, investments in the FRF oil and gas exploration, even in the most conservative version of modeling conditions, provide returns characteristic of the most ambitious successful startups. At the same time, unlike startups, these investments are proven financially risk-free. The probability of losing all investments in a startup often exceeds 50%. The probability of losing all investments in the FRF exploration programs, which make up the FRF Supercompany creation project, is less than 10 to the minus 105th power. That is, unimaginably small. It is approximately 100,000 quadrillion times smaller than the probability of catching the only one needed out of all the 10 to the 85th power photons that exist in our entire universe, in its unimaginably vast space, at random, on the first try. The financial risks of investing in the FRF Supercompany creation project are known and reduced to zero with evidence supported by calculation results. For each of the implemented FRF exploration programs, the probability of obtaining a return of no less than the required 15% will be 99.000 to 99.999%. The probability of obtaining a return of less than the required 15% per annum on all funds invested in the FRF exploration over 9 years is reduced to zero. It will be less than 100,000th of a percent, thus obtaining a return greater than the required 15% is more than guaranteed. NCMs create a new type of investment that combines confirmed, proven financial risklessness with extremely high profitability and returns for the reliability achieved. In our case, the internal rate of return of the project to create an FRF supercompany is 34%. In less conservative versions of modeling conditions, the internal rate of return of the project exceeds 50%. NCMs open up new colossal prospects for humanity and will ensure unprecedentedly high rates of development. Humanity has received opportunities for a guaranteed successful and guaranteed financially risk-free solution to risky problems in a huge number of areas of production, science, and technology. As has already been said, the economic laws of using NCMs in geological exploration make inevitable the emergence of FRF supercompanies, unattainable leaders in the scale and economic efficiency of exploration and production of oil and gas and other minerals. We invite you to take part in the project of creating the FRF supercompany, that is, in the implementation of a unique chance to create a financially risk-free mechanism for obtaining huge profits and directing them to a productive and profitable solution to the fundamental problems of finding the most promising and reliable path to the ultra-long-term well-being of humanity. The problems of forming the most positive and ambitious agenda for its current and future development, based not on unconfirmed hypotheses, but on factual data of theoretical, field and experimental scientific research unprecedented in intensity and scale. In conclusion, let us say a few words about the key developers of the NCMs and the project of the FRF supercompany creation. Slide 11. Team, Slide 1 of 2. Oleg Georgievich Brajnikov. All unique theoretical and computational tools for the application of the NCMs in the oil and gas industry, which make it possible to carry out financially risk-free exploration and create the FRF supercompany, are based on 6 decades of an extremely successful operational track record and outstanding deliverables of intensive daily scientific and operational work, performed by Professor Oleg Georgievich Brajnikov, Doctor of Sciences in Geological and Mineralogical Sciences, till the very last day of his life, November 17, 1940 to November 23, 2020. In his exceptionally fruitful career, Oleg Georgievich worked as Deputy General Director for Geology of Lukoil Volgograd Piamorneft, Chief Geologist of the Kalmyk Oil and Gas Exploration Trust, Chief Geologist of the Astrakhan Oil and Gas Exploration Expedition, and in other scientific and production positions in the systems of the USSR Ministry of Geology, the Russian Federation Ministry of Education, and the Lukoil Group of companies. Oleg Georgievich is the author of 5 monographs, 1 educational guide, over 80 handwritten reports, and over 50 articles in scientific journals. Some key results of his scientific work are presented on the slide. This includes the creation and implementation of the following effective scientific methods and tools into broad geological practice. Genetic classification of geological bodies for estimation of oil and gas-bearing prospects. Synthesis of the theory of formations by Ines Shatsky, V.D. Nalivkin's theory about interrelations of nimias, servias, facies, and lithotypes, and the system approach. Comparative planetology method. Methods of mapping local uplifts with rupture anomalies. Broken plate method. Palinspastic maps and profiles generation methods. Palinspastic reconstruction of lithospheric blocks. Methods of determination of hydrocarbons migration timing and field generation timeframes. Methods of calculating the number of fields and their relations in terms of reserve size, which may hypothetically be discovered in various tectonic zones, within administrative areas, and license blocks of companies. Methods of comparative geological and economic estimation of oil and gas-bearing prospects of various areas. Co-author of the Methodological Guidelines for Quantitative and Economic Estimation of Oil, Gas, and Condensate Resources in Russia, RF Ministry of Natural Resources, Moscow, 2000. Algorithm of the deposit software intended for express estimation of reserves in layer arch structures and massive deposits. Algorithm development for the stratigraphic screen software intended for estimation of reserves in stratigraphic screen traps, size of traps with minimal commercially viable reserves, determination of the first prospecting well location, etc. Oleg Georgievich also had a number of research publications regarding the use of a system-based approach and comparative planetology method for handling such controversial issues as energy sources of tectonic movements, antecedents of basaltic or granitic crust, palea, and future ecology, causes of extinction of fossil animal species, fluctuations in the global sea level, causes of the Earth's magnetic field inversion, global calamities, logic of their occurrence, and the course of activities of the human species, protoplanetary cloud formation and its further evolution hypothesis, hydrocarbon supercluster location patterns, etc. Professor Brajnikov is one of the few contemporary scientists who combined a broad mental outlook and the deep scientific knowledge of an academic with his extensive experience of on-site operations. Oleg Georgievich chose to be present, in person, and supervise the delivery of the most critical stages of drilling and geophysical operations. The following oil and gas fields in Kalmykia were discovered with his involvement and under his management: Severo-Khemyshanskoye, Krasno-Khemyshanskoye, Nadzdinskoye, Dvoynoye, Vostokno-Khemyshanskoye, Yekaterinskoye, Komsomolskoye, Narin-Kadukskoye, Tumanoy, Pologoy, Severo-Komsomolskoye, Shakhmatskoye, Malikaranskoye, Kurganoy, etc. He is one of those who discovered the unique Astrakhan gas condensate field, design, drilling, and testing of well 1 Voloskovskaya, with a gas gusher coming from under salt deposits, yielding a flow rate of 230,000 cubic meters per day, including metering of condensate and acid components content. All 17 prospecting and appraisal wells were tested under his personal supervision on site. The Astrakhan gas condensate field is the largest hydrocarbon field in Europe, with initial recoverable reserves exceeding 6 billion tons of conventional fuel, more than 42 billion barrels of oil equivalent. Between 1980 and 1983, as the chief geologist of the Soviet geologists team in the Republic of Cuba and the top-level advisor to the Ministry of Basic Industry of Cuba, he developed a core sampling technology intended for an oil bath, el Banu de Petróleo. The technology application increased the proven reserves threefold, which made it possible to enhance oil production up to a level fully covering the demand of the Republic of Cuba in the event of a military blockade. Slide 12. Team, Slide 2 of 2. Artem Olegovich Brajnikov. Artem Brajnikov is the author of those very new computational methods to which this presentation is dedicated. The author of new computational methods that, for the first time ever, opened up the possibility of a guaranteed successful and guaranteed financially risk-free solution to risky problems in all areas of production, science, and technology. Artem Olegovich is also a developer of management, economic, and computational tools for the use of the NCMs in the oil and gas industry, and a key developer of the project of the FRF supercompany creation. Artem Olegovich graduated from the Bauman Moscow State Technical University and the State University of Management. Artem Olegovich is one of the founders and CEO of the Valuable Geology Company, led the Interneft Company, the operator of joint oil and gas prospecting activities arranged by Lukoil, Slavneft, Sedenko, TNK-BP, VNK in the pre-Caspian Depression and the near-edge zone of the pre-Caspian Depression. Worked as an assistant to the deputy chairman of the Committee on Economic Policy of the State Duma of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation for work in the State Duma, 1999 to 2000. Headed the Representative Office of Scientific Technological Company, Russian Interbranch Scientific and Technical Complex, Neftotdicha, in the pre-Caspian region, etc. He is the author of 6 monographs and about 20 articles in scientific journals. Artem Brajnikov made significant contributions to general and industry-specific economic theory, as well as risk management theory, and to the industry-specific theory and practice of managing oil and gas exploration operations. In addition to the development and implementation of NCMs, Artem Olegovich Brajnikov was the first to identify, study, and describe key economic effects for the management of oil and gas companies and the industry. 1. Geological System Economic Effect, abbreviated GSE. 2. Risk Management Scale Economic Effect, abbreviated RMSE. Artem Brajnikov created and introduced into practice the key entities and tools of industry management. Focused GSE delivery. Focused RMSE delivery. Risk-free value of an exploration and appraisal program, abbreviated ENA program. Tactical set of conditions for the implementation of a prospecting project, abbreviated TSC-IPP. Risk handover tactics. Prospecting target of a prospecting project from the standpoint of the system-based approach to subsoil survey and exploration, etc. Artem Olegovich Brajnikov created highly effective tools for the analysis, forecasting, and design of industry development processes. A model of development of petroleum bearing systems, abbreviated PBS. A model of the global PBS development. A mechanism for the formation and reproduction of favorable conditions for ENA under a conventional business model. A conceptual model of subsoil usage, etc. This concludes the presentation. Thank you for your attention. For information or to start interaction on the project of FRF supercompany creation, on projects of introducing NCMs into other areas of science and business, you can contact us by email business@valgeology.com or ceo@valgeology.com. Note, the list of monographs by Oleg Georgievich Brajnikov and Artem Olegovich Brajnikov can be found on the Valuable Geology website in the Library section at www.valgeology.com/library.